Hello. Welcome to another episode of Read With Me. I'm here to read with you the final piece, the final part of chapter 10, where we're going to be talking about some really good things when it comes to selling on TV. As you know, Lori, the author of this incredible book, Invent It, Sell It, Bank It. She sells on TV. She sells on QVC. Her products sell that hundreds of thousands of dollars per minute, because as she shared in the last video, and you should definitely check it out, it's chapter 10 part 2. She was mentioning how if you're not selling at a certain amount that day, that particular airtime that they've given you, whether you're on QVC or the home shopping network, there's a threshold of how much they're actually putting out or investing into this infomercial versus how much you got to make that investment make sense. So if they're spending $5,000 to get the whole entire show on air and for you to be live to sell, well, you have to make more than that to make sense of that investment. And what she was mentioning are there's so many key things that need to be put in place in order for that to sell. So it's really important to know your game, know your pitch, know what you're demonstrating, how you're going to present yourself, how you're going to show up on camera. Like all of those things matter. And we're very big advocates on, for example, if you're going to sell a product, if you're going to go on a sales call, your background has to be good. You have to look good. You have to be ready. If you're going to share your screen on Zoom, like don't have this messy staging. That's what we like to call it. Don't have a messy stage. Also have your products ready to present, have it easy for them to actually check out. Like all those things are so important. And how she's delivering that message for physical products, it also correlates with how you actually present in the digital realm, especially with high ticket items, higher than $2,000 a piece. If you're selling to a group or if you're selling to one person in particular, you have to know how everything is being correlated. So I really enjoy how she's sharing the parts for physical products, because it's very much similar to digital products, and that's what our focus is. So this is great. So here we go. We're going to read the final part 3 of chapter 10, and we're going to get into a couple different unique plays here. So number 1 is clever and unique creations. She starts off with saying, for 2 years, I'd come on the air for the usual 7 to 8 minutes given all products on QVC. All along, however, I had my eye on the prize, my own hour-long show. There are 2 types of shows, branded and generic. Generic shows represent all types of different products from different companies. Branded shows represent several products, but they are all from the same brand. There might be a Dooney and Burke hour on a philosophy hour. My goal was a Lori Greiner hour. I was told that to qualify, I would have to invest 7 to 9 items that were consistently selling every time they went on air. At QVC, as I've shared, a successful product is defined as one that earns all the dollars per minute for that hour required for a reorder. With every new invention, I'd pray that it would work well enough to get me a little closer to my goal of one day getting on my own show. If you sell on QVC, you're constantly meeting with your buyers. And as we would talk about the product and strategize, I was always hoping that eventually we'd see that I had enough products earning enough sales to get me to that special hour. But it wasn't just about the numbers. I also needed to establish that I was a big enough brand that I could actually carry a long hour-long show. In my 3rd year, I got it. It's called Clever and Unique Creations by Lori Greiner. And I still have it till this day, multiple times each month. For me, selling in that hour was so much more fun than the 8 minutes I was accustomed to. It also proved a great way to build my brand even more. A show makes you a destination, giving your customers a dedicated place to find you and your products. I love that. A show makes you a destination, giving your customers a dedicated place to find you and your products. In addition, I'm going to actually highlight that one because I really, really, really like that line. In addition, it ensures that you can get a lot of feedback from your customers, which is wonderful because then you can make sure to take their needs and wants into account and you create more products. So I adore the QVC followers and customers. I would not be where I'm at today without them and their support and their dedication. They have made what I do for a living truly gratifying. I love that. It was around the time that I got my own show that my travel schedule meant I was away from my home and almost more than I was home. Dan, a CPA, had been doing my accounting all along. But when the traveling became too much, he quit his job and joined me full time to be my VP so that we could spend all of our time together. The business had grown so much that we were financially secure enough to no longer worry about losing his income. The business was getting exciting and he wanted to be part of it with me. I was president, he became vice president. In addition to taking care of the books, he also took over the shipping and the back-end operations. I continued to handle the product creation, manufacturing, selling, marketing, all legal, and running the driving the company. We couldn't be happier. We played to each other's strengths. And that's really powerful because that says a lot about a dynamic duo, and I can definitely relate to Dan because I'm definitely the one on that end, on that spectrum. And, Vanessa is definitely like, she's a beast when it comes to sales. So, I mean, sales and marketing and delivery and execution, she's a master at that. And then when it comes to like back end operations and like getting things in the tech side all making sense, that's where my genius comes in. So that's how we are a dynamic couple when it comes to business, which is awesome. So if you haven't found your strength, this is where I'm going with this. If you haven't found your strength, you have to dig deeper within yourself and you have to really be truthful to yourself on what makes me really, really good. Like, what am I really, really passionate about and I can easily do in my sleep if I needed to? That's what is going to drive. That's what's going to make it easier for you to find a complementary, because if you're not uncertain, if you're uncertain on what you're really, really good at, then that other person that is your complement that may have their strengths and that are your weaknesses, they might not feel the same way. So you have to be very, very certain about what you're really good at, and find others that are really, really good that are maybe your weaknesses. Okay. So then she goes into behind the scenes. When the QVC audience tunes in to see you and your product, they would probably never guess how much planning and hard work went into getting ready for that show during the months, days, and even hours just before you appeared on air. It's something that new entrepreneurs always find surprising as well. So for example, a typical day for me at QVC starts at 8 or 9 a.m. If I'm lucky, sometimes I have to be there. I have several of my hour shows within a 24-hour period. A today's special value is toughest schedule representing about 36 hours of no sleep. That's crazy. Unfortunately, you can't just set up the show and leave it until your next airing because the other people are using the studio. It takes us 3 to 4 hours to set up for each show. So we're going to be working hard all day. QVC offers all on-air guests a stylist to do their hair and makeup, but I do my own at home because I'd rather use the extra time to help my team set up and talk with the host and the QVC production team. Typically, I'm always rushing to get dressed. I push everything to the last minute. In fact, my team has taken to telling me that I need to be somewhere a half an hour earlier than I really do, so I can make sure that I'm out the door when they want me to be. I consider many things when I'm picking out my outfits. No wild patterns, no crazy color combinations, no super short skirts, no jeans, and so on per QVC guidelines. I try to be attractive and stylish, but not too distracting. I'm representing my brand. The main event is the product. If I'm going to be presenting a product that I haven't done frequently or that's relatively new, I often watch a recording of the last time I presented on the air to see what I liked in the cell, what worked and what didn't work, and what I think I could do better. It's a good refresher. I've sold some products so many times I could sell them in my sleep. The decision about what I'm doing to sell today was made months ago. I'll have a general overview for the quarter. And then as we get closer to the shows, QVC's buying and planning team will tell us what's going on within the hour. So then I know which 6 to 7 items to prepare for. A combination of the new and the existing bestsellers make up each hour show. So if you caught what she was saying, she kind of doesn't know what she's going to be doing until that actual show. So some people like they freak out when something is not going according to plan, or if something is off, or something is not published correctly, or something is off, and it's the people that can see what's going on but just go with the flow, that can adjust, can adapt, they can see things, they can go with it, they can be positive throughout the whole entire process. Like, that's the winner. That's why they're on TV. That's why they get the sale. That's why whenever you see them, they're freaking smiling because they know they got it. It's the people that like freak out over the smallest little thing that they don't make it. Okay. So don't freak out over the smallest thing. Think about all the stuff that needs to happen to create that one little thing, even with your own brand. Like, to get a freaking post out, to get the right hashtags, to get the right timing, to get the right content out, it takes work. So if it doesn't happen that one moment, you have so many more opportunities to go by. But don't freak out. Don't stop what you're doing. Continue to go with it. Continue to build that muscle, and eventually it will become a second nature. We plan weeks ahead of time for how we are going to demo the brand new products. I used to do it all by myself. Now I'm lucky and I get a lot of help from Coop, my director of marketing, broadcasting, and social media. I usually start out with a vision in my head of how the demo should go. However, there are 2 essential elements you always need to emphasize. One is your product's features, and 2 is your product's benefits. All right, so that's where the FABs come in. So if you guys know what this is, the FABs are: F stands for features, A stands for advantages, B stands for benefits. Speak with the benefits. Okay, always use the benefits. And if the benefits attract that person, if they're wanting to make that change, if they're looking to get that type of result, if they're looking to get that benefit, then the features are ways that they can understand better about the product. You'll hear those 2 words discussed all the time at QVC. Your product's features are all the things that it does. Customers need to be able to see those to know if the product is something that might be useful and whether it is appealing to their taste. But equally important are the benefits of those features. Why does someone need this product? It will make her or him more organized. It is more convenient. It will clean the home more thoroughly. Whatever it is that you're selling, you have to continuously point the features and the benefits of your product, because that is how you make your customer's life better. Aside from the product's features and benefits, we have to put all kinds of visuals to help explain why the product is great. Products we've sold before are propped and stored in a warehouse, but the new ones need a lot of planning. Several weeks before the show, my team and I select which props will help us convey on air everything the product can do. How will we demo this? How will we demo that? Well, we will also film support videos a few months ahead of time. You'll see these lifestyle support videos run 2 or 3 times during the live on-air sell. Everybody makes them. A video can escalate your sales by as much as 20%, if not more. Okay, let's just stop there, because this is so, so important. Like, even if you're a coach, even if you're selling a service or selling something on the digital end, like if you don't have a product presentation page and you don't know how to guide someone into that page, you're doing a disservice for them at the end of the day, because you need to be able to guide someone into a place where they can understand the features, advantages, and benefits very clearly, visually, okay? So they can make sense to click a button and take the next steps if they're not on the call with you, okay? That's one. And then two, if you don't have a video that's representing yourself, that is professionally done, that has credibility, and it has a way of like sharing a story with someone, like, what are you doing with yourself? You know, how do you expect someone to trust you? We're living in 2022. People need to see you on video. They need to hear you. They need to understand what your life is like. Okay. Just because you have really nice stock photos or stock videos, that doesn't mean that they're going to trust you. Like, if you're a life coach, or if you're a business coach, if you're a fitness coach, if you're a nutrition coach, whatever type of coach you are, if you cannot embody that, if you cannot show the results that you've gotten to yourself, what the heck are you doing? What are you selling? Like, that is just wrong. Okay. So make sure to get a video done. Make sure to have professionalism in your brand. It's so, so, so important. They help people see the product in action and in the right environment, not just in your studio. So for example, take my favorite luggage, my deluxe weekender bag, which I designed for myself. The lid is a flap in which you can snap your toiletry bag. And when you open the bag, you can hook the flap onto the telescope and handle so you can see all of your toiletries and cosmetics. It's got a lot of neat patented benefits and features other bags don't have. But in the studio, that is when I can actually show how it unzips to reveal the toiletry case snapped inside of the lid. But it also has this 360-degree turning wheel radius where I can fit into a plane's overhead compartment. You can see some of this in the on-air demonstration, but some of the benefits can't be demonstrated in the studio, but some of the benefits can be demonstrated in other places. So these you can actually put into the video. That is where what's really powerful. My producer, Doug, and I filmed a particular video on a set where we had to access a real section of a plane. We were able to film the bag close up, show someone putting it into their overhead compartment, and display how the wheels turn so they can easily maneuver down a narrow airplane aisle. We also went to a hotel so we could actually film someone rolling the bag past someone in a very narrow hallway. These kind of live action lifestyle shots are invaluable. Usually people hire someone to film the video for them, but as you probably guessed, I like to be part of the process. I create a video for almost every item that I sell. I think it's so, so important. I've been working with Doug for 15 years. We try to shoot 2 or 3 products in a day to make the most of the house or other location we rent, and the models and the videographers that we hire. It's important to make the most use of your money. While the shoot is laborious, I find editing to be really fun. I feel like it helps me tell the story about my product. Doug can do the editing right on his PC. So he comes to my office and we sit and do it together. We watch the raw footage. I pick my favorite shots and we put it together to tell a story. So 6 months of planning and preparation are behind me as I walk into the QVC studios at 4 p.m., ready to prep for my 8 p.m. show. We tend to talk and laugh a lot, so the floor managers sometimes have to shush and tell us to use inside voices. They tell us we're having way too much fun. This is pretty much how we are all together. I have a great team. QVC supplies tables and gurneys at different sets. This is a huge warehouse at the studio called Product Central, where QVC has stocked 2 of each item being shown that day, but I bring my own propped products, of course. So I'm just like, as I read this, I'm thinking to myself, like, how important it is to, have a video where, if you are a life coach, let's go back to that. If you are a life coach, if you're a business coach, you have to show video where you actually show the results that you get your clients. So for example, if you were to do a photo shoot, make sure that you get an actual image of you speaking to people. Like we always tell our clients, go to Starbucks. Okay, go to Starbucks, sit, and then have your videographer just like stand somewhere incognito behind some bushes or, you know, behind a wall or something, and have him catch you asking someone a question. And one of the questions that you can ask somebody while that person is shooting is like, hey, what did you order? You know, and then you're smiling, they're smiling back, they're like doing one of these, and it looks like you're like toasting, which is really great. And then the conversation rolls into something else, and it becomes a dynamic shot for the person on the back end, like looking at that moment where you can really share an experience, share that incognito like feeling, you know. So if you haven't done a photo shoot, go ahead and do so. Like it's so important to do so. Stay relevant within your brand. There's so many people out there that have like 20-year-old freaking what's that thing called, like headshots from like when they were working in corporate, and they still use that same headshot for everything. It's time. Like it's freaking time. There's so many different amazing photographers out there that you can find, and it's going to be worth the investment. Okay, if you don't know, let us know, because we can definitely help you out with a photographer, because we know a lot of people in different places. So make sure to reach out to a photographer, make sure to tell them your vision, make sure that you tell them, hey, I'm looking to actually put this on my website, I'm looking to create this as part of a video, I'm looking to put this on my social media, this is my intention, this is my goal here. Okay, if they're good, they'll grab the essence of what you're trying to do, and then they'll shoot towards that. Okay, one surprising fact is that when you're selling on the air, there aren't very many people on the set with you. The cameras are robotic and operated from a control room all above. Only essential personnel are on the floor. There are production assistants, people who help move the gurneys, cameras, and monitors around, but they're working, not focusing on you per se. So it's a 24-hour live show. They've seen it all before. That's why, even in the beginning, I never felt uncomfortable. It's not like in the movies when an actor will look out from the film set and you'll see through his eyes a director, four cameras, and a bunch of assistants and other people staring back. It doesn't feel like anyone is watching. So even though in reality millions are, you forget about it until the customers actually themselves start calling you to talk to you, which is so much more fun, which is awesome. There are usually a few minutes to kill once we're set up before we go on air. It's pretty social and generally use this time to chat with everyone in the studio. My team jokingly complains that they are constantly losing me at the last second, right when I'm supposed to get mic'd. And Dan finally puts a GPS on my phone so he could track me down. It's a big studio. Oh, mic'd. So she typically goes off and runs around, you know, when she's about to get on studio to get mic'd. That's funny. Yet I always know my show times. And in 17 years, I've never been late for a show. As soon as I get the signal, all my attention is on the cameras 100%. As I move from set to set, selling various products all along, I can tell how products are doing because I can often see the sales numbers coming in real time on the monitor, and they are right in front of me. So there is no changing the sell if the numbers aren't what you want them to be. So hard selling isn't allowed on QVC, and your customers won't appreciate it anyway. You have to hope that all the work that you did beforehand translates the way that you wanted it to be on air. No one is perfect. Sometimes you get on air and you realize that you should have shown something else, or that you could have improved your demo. If you make your numbers to get reordered, you can evolve, enhance, and improve for the next time. It's an ongoing process. And by reading that, okay, I look at that as follow-up. So for example, if you're taking a sales call with someone and after the sales call, it typically happens. You're like, oh, I should have just asked that. Or, oh, I missed out on this. Perfect. Ask what you came up with as soon as you hit end on that call. Write it down, okay? And then use that question, use that thought as a way to follow up with them. It's a no-brainer, okay? But 98% of people don't do it. Only 2% of sales happen within the first call. And that's what she's mentioning. Like, yeah, she might see the sales happening in real life, but sometimes when they drop, you have to pick it back up. So follow up is everything. Since I'm not from out of town, QVC makes the most use of my time by scheduling several shows within a 24-hour period. Also, if I'm selling a product at a special price for that day only, they can maximize the opportunity by selling several shows in one day. Often, my show will air on Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, an hour before Shark Tank airs on the East Coast. Once I'm done with the 8 p.m. show, I don't go home. I dash to the green room where I start live tweeting during Shark Tank from 9 to 10 p.m. During that time, my team and I will relax and let loose. Sometimes we'll bring in pizzas or chicken cheese steaks from 3 different places and have a throwdown, each of us judging whose food is best. I order crazy amounts of food, not because we're starving, but because it's fun. I like to live life in abundance. And she has a weird thing of calling it, so that's good. Sometimes we'll have another show at 1 a.m., which airs just after the West Coast airing of Shark Tank. By the time we get home, it's about 3:30 a.m. It's now been a 20-hour day and we're all ready to crash. It can be a long, long day, but it's so incredibly gratifying. I love those days. I love those days when it's like you start early in the day and then you end really, really late at night or early in the morning, and you just feel so accomplished. I love those days so much. Like, an example of that in the digital world could be like you have an amazing, you start your day off with like your group coaching, and then you jump on a plane and then you go to meet a client, and then from that client you end up meeting another client around the same area, but then you end that day either with a really nice dinner, all of them together, or you can actually go back home, okay, in a different time zone. I love that part. I love playing around with time zones. And then you're able to now, have an extra, I don't know, 5 hours. And then you're able to maybe attend a show or something. It's like you're living multiple worlds. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's a really great concept, but yeah. If you do like different time zones and you have experimented with taking flights where you earn an additional 3 hours or something like that, make sure to put it in the comments, because we're all jet setters here and we absolutely love that life. So if you do like that, make sure to hit like, comment, subscribe, and share. We have a couple of different other factors here within this chapter. We're going to get into infomercials, mail order catalogs, e-commerce, and she's about to get into other selling venues. So infomercials, like the home shopping channels, infomercials are great venues to showcase demonstrable products and sell directly to consumers. Some of them become cultural touchstones, launching iconic taglines along with their product, like the Ginsu knife, but wait, there's more, or the Ron Popeil set it and forget it. For the right product and right pitchman, like Billy Mays and George Foreman, infomercials can be direct roads to fame and fortune. But as we explored in chapter 5, they can also be fraught with risk. Legitimate infomercial companies can help you make inroads into the market and pave the way to getting an order with retailers or a spot on with one of the home shopping networks, but too many have taken advantage of new entrepreneurs' desperation to get on air, seducing them with the promise of millions and millions of eyes. Many are legitimate, but I've also heard stories and seen circumstances where they are not. If a company tells you that they love your product and they will make an infomercial for you and know how to test the airtime, and you'll have to do this by putting up 25,000 to 100,000, look out. Some inventors are willing to take the risk, thinking that they'll make more money that way than if they put more of the risk on the infomercial company. Often, however, they lose their money. It's smarter to let the infomercial company, which is the expert at this, handle the production and pay for the costs. That's good. So if you're looking to sell online, make sure that they are paying for it. I was once introduced to a terrific creative inventor who had managed to get himself in the hole to the tune of about $600,000. What the hell? I thought this product was great and that he was smart, clever, and genuine. I thought maybe I could help him get out of the hole and we could both make some money in the process. I launched this item on QVC and it sold great. He started making some money and was able to cover his debts. But then a friend approached him and suggested that he could even make more money if they worked together to produce an infomercial. He didn't go in blindly. He did his homework. He even spoke to me and listened to my advice. But in the end, he decided that he stood a good chance of succeeding and went ahead with the infomercial. It didn't work. He didn't lose a ton of money because his friend produced the piece, but he was still on the hook for the airtime, and that wasn't cheap. Anxious to make his money back and probably just anxious to prove that the dream was still alive, he jumped when a company contacted him about professionally producing an infomercial. He figured that this was this big mistake had been doing it. He had been doing this big mistake for himself. Surely he would succeed now that he wasn't working with the pros. Now that he was working with pros, the infomercial didn't work either. And he descended deeper into debt. Too often entrepreneurs get so obsessed with chasing the dream that they realize they haven't been actually chasing it in the right direction. They've been chasing it in circles. And when it's too late, it is too late. Hiring a celebrity endorser is another trap a lot of entrepreneurs fall into. It doesn't help you to pay a lot of money for a celebrity to endorse your product unless he or she is somehow a natural fit for your product. Hiring a male Olympic athlete to sell your jewelry won't sell a single gemstone. The relationship of product to pitchman has to make sense to the public. There's a right way to do an infomercial and a wrong way. If you're going to take a risk, partner up with a company that will produce it for you, even if that means that you may have to take a smaller percentage of your sales. If you've produced a quality infomercial with trustworthy partners and that item still doesn't sell, then you know it's probably not an infomercial product. Mail order catalogs. Even in the internet age, catalogs are $1 billion business, and there's no reason you shouldn't be a part of it. Just as people love to watch television, salespeople demonstrate products on TV, a lot of people still enjoy flipping through glossy pages full of beautiful photographed products and being able to actually order at their own leisure. Many people save catalogs and then go back later to them. You reach out to a catalog buyer the same way that you would to any buyer. One resource might be the catalog of catalogs, 4th edition. It's like the mail order catalog version of the chain store guide. E-commerce. Selling on your own website will always earn you the greatest amount of net profit per sale. In fact, web sales can make up to 30% more for people's businesses. If you can hire a designer to create a website for you, but you can actually hire people to actually create a website for you. There are many other resources like Design Crowd or Fiverr or even Upwork, as I mentioned, which can put you in touch with freelancers at a reasonable rate where you can actually, you can also find people to help you. Once your website is up, it'll be a heck of a lot of work to keep it up. So be prepared to be sure to have staff on hand to help. Oh my God, I freaking love the fact that she mentions that, because This is why we decided to get into the CRM business right here. Okay. Once your website is up, it'll be a heck of a lot more work to keep it up. Once you do anything online, it has to be upkept. Okay, just like a car needs its oil changes and its tires rotated and it has insurance and all this stuff, right? So does your website, so does your brand, so does your business. You know, there's so many different people charging so much for these services when we know the real cost to it. And we're like, let's give it to everyone and anyone that needs it. But most importantly, let's put a price to it that is affordable, you know, and also the support around it. Be prepared to be prepared and be sure to have staff on hand to help. If you hire a VA, if you you know, find someone on Upwork, yes, it's going to cost you some money, but then you also have to train them. Like that's what costs the most money. It's not hiring someone, it's training that person to ensure that they know what they're doing. That's what people don't get. Anyways, in addition, just putting up a website isn't enough to get direct traffic to go there. Damn right. There are many companies that can help you with the search, with the SEO, doing cross promotions, Google ads, utilizing your social media through Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram. Whatever you can do to raise awareness about your product and your website, you should actively do it all the time. Keyword, do it all the time. Okay. If you're going to be reaching out to people, do it all the time. If you're going to be doing, you know, 50 reach outs in one day, okay, do it every single day. Don't stop because you don't feel like it. That's where delegation comes in. That's where you can find a teammate or a VA to help you do that. Okay, you just got to train them or come to us and we'll help you with that. Okay, make sure you have a great website that clearly explains your product, and if you can, try to sell direct through it. Damn right. Yes, Amazon is the mother of all e-commerce sites, and Etsy is well known as the online source for all things indie, artsy, and craftsy. But over the past few years, services have called e-commerce website builders, also known as shopping cart designers, and they are gaining up on them. Currently, the most talked about ones seem to be the big e-commerce. Volution and Big Cartel, 3D Cart, Shopify, and Magento all pretty much promise to accomplish the same thing, to allow businesses to build their online storefront without having to go to all the trouble of designing and building their websites through an expensive web designer. Each varies in scope and has its own particular benefits. For example, BigCommerce is also known for excellent SEO configuration and ease of use, whereas Big Cartel is specifically designed to handle small businesses selling fewer than 100 products. See, I don't know about them. I haven't experienced Big Commerce or Big Cartel. I'll check them out. Take advantage of any online initiatives you can. YouTube can be a terrific sales tool if you can figure out creative ways to get people to your YouTube channel. Pinterest is a fantastic way to showcase certain items since it attracts a huge number of shoppers. You can make your presence known there if you can. Do whatever you can to get your product out in front of the consumer. Think of the internet as the online equivalent of driving around town with a giant sign flashing on top of your car. And while you're out there selling, make sure that you keep talking too. Just as the great demo can inspire consumers to buy, engaging with your customers and building buzz around your product is a great way to make sure that the word gets out. Love that. Love that. Absolutely love that. So make sure to go in, make sure to learn to get your product out there. We talked about so many really powerful things in here, and it's so important that regardless if you're selling like digital or physical products, like you got to know the game. You got to understand how to put yourself out there. Every single day we're given 24 hours in a day. It's how you use them that makes all the sense and all the amazing things come into fruition for you. Okay. Use your 24 hours in a day wisely and leverage as much as you can. Okay. Coming from a person that personally I like to create something once. And I really enjoy the fact that if I can create it once, I can leverage it again and again and again and again and again. And if it's automated, it's even better. Like we live in a time right now where people understand what automation means, but they haven't experienced what automation is for them. They haven't been able to duplicate themselves yet. So if you can find a way to duplicate yourself, if you don't know what this means, make sure to go to ivyleads.com and check that out. If you don't know what duplication means, it's time for you to find out. That's all I got to say. Make sure to hit like, make sure to hit subscribe, make sure to freaking share this with somebody that needs to hear a lot of information that can, one word, one sentence, one way of hearing it in a different way can actually ignite them to do something different within their brand or their business. Because if you're not getting results, it's not because your stuff doesn't work, it's because you haven't tried different ways of doing it to get you different results. You know, insanity comes when you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over, expecting the same better results. Okay, you're not going to get that. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video where it's chapter 11. We're almost at the end of this book, which I'm super pumped because it's literally 11, chapter 11, and then chapter 12. That's pretty much it. So we have 2 more videos for this book, and I'm so excited for next month because it's gonna be great. Money made, baby. Anyways, let's get into chapter 11 in the next video, and I hope you've been having a great, wonderful day so far. Talk to you soon.